I pushed the right button. This is not where I wanted to start out. Give me 2 seconds. This is where I want to be. Hello. It is Mosh's live night. I feel like I can't hear myself. There we go. Okay. Hopefully the levels look good. Yeah, they look all right. Okay. So it's a different show today. Usually I'm over in the newsroom. Today we have a house full of sickness. So today was half doctor's appointments and the other half a little bit of work and a lot of preparing. When I was, and I will give credit where credit's due here in a minute, but when I was saying, oh yeah, my wife researches a lot of stuff, she has a note card. This is what I said last time. It's she has this note card that we give to everybody when they get pregnant, because she has this list of things that are must-buys on things. So I'm like, hey, can you give me that note card so I could go over it on the stream? She's like, oh yeah, sure. It's pretty pages of written notes, front and back. It's all amazing, and we'll get to it in a minute. So anyways, the idea of the let me start where we usually start, I guess. It feels different being over here. I'm sure I look way bigger. Actually, it's not too bad. What's on tap is where we usually talk about what sort of beer we're drinking for the night. That is not the case today. I am not necessarily sick. I took the strep test. It came back negative. I'm like all stuffed up or something. I'm not sure what's up. So I'm just drinking this organic energy drink called something my wife bought. And it's decent. Okay, it's not bad. So let me do the next one. So this show today is different than most shows where I'm in this room mainly so I can bring up the screen and show you some links, show you some items online that I may not have here in the room with me. It's just easier to do it this way than to do in the main studio room. If you have any questions, the other part about this show is that usually when I'm on Mosh's Live with a guest, as Wednesday will be, by the way, when Ashna Christ is on the show, I will be reading chat today. So if you have questions that you want discussed, you can let me know, and I'll just cover them right away. Usually I don't read chat at all until the very end, which is fine. I also have all the alerts turned on and the audio turned on and all that kind of stuff, so you can feel free to do that stuff. When did the facial hair start? Knowing the way I grow facial hair, like 6 years ago. Yeah. So, hey, Lava's like, what's up? I was watching you stream earlier. It's cool to see you. What am I doing? I'm hitting the wrong buttons all over the place. Jesus Christ, it's been a while, huh? So today is a dad show. This is requested by our friendly mod named MAF127. He has a new baby, and he was like, hey, it would be cool if you did a show about some of the stuff that he and I talk about and give him some tips, which is basically like forwarding my wife's tips. So today we're trying the show where we talk about baby stuff, some tips, but mainly like the crux of it will be items that we've had and used and also talk a little bit about stuff that's crap and a waste of time and what you should actually buy and save your money on. I will get to everything on that list, but if you look below the screen, I've reinstituted the gear on Amazon list. I don't necessarily care if you buy from those links. Obviously, that's an affiliated link. If you buy something off there, there's some X percentage of a penny that I get if you buy something on the list. But it's just there to show you the items. So as I'm talking, you can go down there, you can click on any of the items down there. There's like a limit of 30 items or something, so not everything I'm going to talk about is on that list. But if you're in the mood to just take a scroll while I'm talking, do that. You can click on the list. It'll take you to Amazon. You can see the item right there. There are some items on there that are actually, there's better ways to buy them, in particular the Honest brand of diapers, but we'll talk about that when we get there. I keep having to look over here because I can actually see the screen now, which is so good. Usually I'm in the other studio and I'm switching through the topics. It's blind. I just have to guess what number I'm on. It's crazy. A quick update. So stream updates. Stuff coming up. Wednesday is probably the most important day on the show and forever, because you know how important stream coaching is to me, and making the quality of your stream better, learning the right habits as a streamer. The guest on the show on Wednesday is named Ashna Christ, and her entire stream is about that. I can't believe she's not a part of streaming yet. I'm pretty sure she's not part of it. I can't even believe it. But she's excellent. She actually does, if you guys know the show, you guys know what the stream audits are, and you can see the T3 sub benefit is now a stream coaching month. I'm going to turn this music off, actually, because I never have this music on doing the talk show. But so she does a little stream coaching, but she does stream audits live on her show, which is such a cool idea. I may institute that at some point down the road, but I don't want to steal her thunder or anything like that. But basically, I'm not sure how she chooses it, but she'll go to someone's page live and watch their VODs and give them direct feedback immediately during her show, which I thought was really interesting. And a good way to show, like, hey, this is actually what constructive feedback is. This is not constructive when you give this kind of feedback. It's a pretty excellent show. She's pretty amazing. She will be on the show on Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, just like usual, and we'll be talking mostly stream etiquette stuff, how to increase your growth, all the stuff that we try and do on this show. But now there'll be two people doing it, and she is more successful at it than I am, so it'll be even more interesting. I will learn a lot from the show. I can't imagine that anyone would watch the show and say, oh, I didn't learn anything from that. So she'll be on the show. There are still new assets coming. I need to get with Lynn to check on some updates. The ones I'm most concerned about are the business cards for TwitchCon, which is coming up in October. Those will be ready. I have mentioned before there's going to be a change on one of the emotes. The hype emote will be changing just a little bit. So that will be coming, and we're going to get a kind of interactive type of donation bar up on the screen. That is for the, if you use the command !, gives back, it explains it a little more, but it's basically the 75% split of the donations on this channel. 75% goes back into the community in terms of hardware donations and all this kind of stuff. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. Oh, Friday may be a canceled show. More than likely is a canceled show. I have a Magic the Gathering night to go to. You know that sometimes the show never gets canceled for Gloomhaven because it's on Saturday. But the Friday is the release of some new Magic set, I believe. And you can, or rather, I will not be streaming that day because a friend of mine rents out a room and then we go play Magic there for a couple hours. When you eventually shave this off, can you stream once with the Hulk Hogan look or any crazy facial hair ready? Yes, I will do that. That sounds like a plan. Maybe some curly mustache look. Okay, let's get to the meat of the show. So the whole point of the show is parenting, so I just wanted to give some quick background on parenting life in this house. Actually, it's been 2 houses now. You'll see there's a picture of me and a tiny baby. That's my daughter, the oldest one. Not only kind of obviously I'm a dad outside of stream, I'm a dad on the stream. You can see my stream team is Team Moms and Dads. You can see commands all over this show that shout out different audio clips that I've had my children record. And obviously there's blurbs everywhere. All my Instagram is pretty much just children and go live notices. So we're no strangers to being parents in this house, my wife included. She is in the chat. Her name is Mrs. Crates. So basically, I have just to kind of give an overview for anyone that doesn't know. I have 2 children. One is 6. One is going to be 2 in a month. A freaking month. 1 day less than a month. Oh no, it'll be exactly a month because there's 31 days in July, right? So 30 more days because it's 29th. Okay, but doesn't matter. He turns 2 soon. They're both ridiculous and amazing and the best children. And my children will fight your children if you disagree. What else? But my background in terms of kids, like family's always been super important to me. My family is very large. I have a billion cousins. I have 2 younger brothers. I have a younger sister. Circumstances we were growing up, I was taking care of my sister a lot when I was real young. And so I kind of got a taste of like what it's like to change diapers and get kids up in the, whatever, all that stuff. eventually I moved to a different state. And then, so a family of mine ran daycares. My aunt had a daycare, and I used to help her take care of kids, or at least I thought I was the adult taking care of children, but I'm sure my aunt was just like, get out of the way, or here, just sit here and feed this kid. But so it's been a long time of kids around my family. And so babies were never like a weird, uncomfortable thing for me. I know that some people can be terrified of children. You hear a lot of times about how people get really, really upset on airplanes when there's kids that sit down next to them and start crying or kicking seats or something like that. And I say it all the time about my own children. There's some things that I get it. You get upset about that stuff. It bothers you. But a baby crying, I mean, it's a baby. You know, I never really understood that. People that would sort of either visually or physically or audially, whatever, express their displeasure with children around them acting like children, which was always weird. That's never been something that bothered me or that I even thought about. Thank you so much for our 2 auto hosts just 2 seconds ago. I'm betting that Ponies is done streaming. So yeah, children were super important throughout my whole life. It was important for me to have children. And it was funny because we had a girl first, so I was super excited. You know, you have a girl and it's like you're a dad and you have a real weird attachment. I mean, not weird, but like a close attachment to your daughter. Maybe first daughter, I'm not sure. Maybe it's just first kid. I don't know. But I remember saying to my wife, well, we got to have a boy. There's just something about, I got to have a boy. The legacy has to continue. My blood has to move. The name has to continue and live on for centuries. It's some weird thing. I don't know if it's an all male thing, if all dads have that thing, but it is weird. The draw to like, nope, somebody has to continue my name after I'm dead. And, you know, oftentimes, which is not necessarily the norm anymore, when women get married, they take their partner's last name. I guess it's not, I mean, that's kind of not true anymore. I guess it's maybe split. But anyways, traditionally, that's how it goes. And I can't have it so my name dies. I die. It was like this weird, like primal instinct to live on the name. So it was really important to me to have a son, and not that he's, you know, somehow more important than my daughter or anything like that. Obviously they're both the best and the most important things, but it exists, that feeling. Also what exists is a crazy spoiling of my daughter by me, and the opposite for my wife, who spoils the hell out of our son when I treat him way older than he is. Like, oh, go take your jammies off. My daughter's 6 and I'm like carrying her to bed. So it's pretty funny that they're both kind of spoiled and treated a little bit younger than they should be, or older than they should be. If babies weren't so cute, nobody would have them. That's probably true. The role of names changed a lot. Iceland, for example, has weird name inheritance rules. Oh. Not so long ago, people's names are based on their profession. See anyone with the surname Baker or Butcher. God damn it, Garrett. Don't bring that intellectual crap into this conversation. I'm just kidding. Thank you so much. That's really interesting. So what else? Is there any other background that you really need? So let me say this as well, because I mentioned this to my wife a while ago. There's been some X number of times that I've been scared as a parent, right? People think that babies are terrifying, that they can break and all that stuff. And babies are honestly way more strong than you think. They could be kind of folded into little pockets if you want. Or, I mean, they're pretty durable. There was 2 times, I want to tell 2 stories. One was significantly terrifying when my son was born, and he had like a problem swallowing formula at the time and started choking. It was the most terrifying thing that you can fucking imagine. It was terrifying. But the whole time he was kind of choking, he was also crying, which is sort of a sign that it's not, if they're choking, they're breathing, or if they're crying, then they're breathing because they have to take in order to breathe. But man, that was fucking scary. So we had to go to the hospital and get, ambulance and all this stuff. It was really terrifying. So that was scary. This one of the scariest moments of my life. And it turns out that maybe it wasn't as scary as we made it out to be, but we were both fucking terrified. That was a terrible day. But also another time we were at the mall with my daughter before my son was born. And my daughter still thinks, I think, kind of, and my son still thinks this as well. They think it's funny to run away from me because I'm going to chase him. But in a crowded mall, that shit's not so funny. So my daughter was probably 3, and we were in Dillard's, I think. And I was talking to my wife, and my daughter was just walking in front of us, and then she just ran away. And normally I can see over everything. I'm 6'5". I'm pretty tall. My wife always told me, like when she was a kid, and maybe even now, like at department stores and clothing stores, is always so terrifying because you can't see over any of the racks. And for me, it was just like, okay, I mean, I could see everything, the layout of the place. But whatever happened, she made some kind of move where I thought she had run out the front door, and I went outside in the mall and was like looking around and couldn't find her. And there was just crazy panic for like 30 seconds. Like you can start to understand when you hear things like when parents freak out and get the superhuman strength and they see their kids get clipped by a car, something just like lift up a freaking, the front of a car, or, go on some crazy rampage and rip the door off a car or something. Like it was as close as I've ever been to like killing someone because I had to find, it was just crazy. And then eventually she came back to us crying because she couldn't find us either. She was just hiding in the clothes rack relatively close by. But man, that was freaking one of the 2 worst days of my life. It was so scary. 6'5" fake news. 6'4" to have. It's 6'4". We'll say 6'4". I'll get my driver's license. Mosh, in a lot of cultures, the middle name is used to carry on the name of the female parents. Yeah, that's true. My stepmother's the same way, I think. Yeah, she does that. This is true. I spoil the hell out of my boy. The girl and I go rounds. Yeah, that's true. And I know exactly who you're talking about. So anyways, the point of sharing the scary story is that a lot of times people think kids are going to get hurt and severely injured, like riding their bike for the first time or jumping on a trampoline or something. I'm not saying that you should let your kid do anything they want, but there's a lot of really weird shit that you can't control that will all of a sudden turn into the scariest fucking day of your life. Like for half a second, losing sight of your daughter in a department store. It is fucking awful. So, them going outside and playing on a trampoline or a slide, fearing that they might break their arm, it's considerably less scary than other things that are out there. So, babies aren't the scariest thing in the world. But the sort of the everyday life of babies is not the scariest thing in the world. Just prepare yourself for the weirdo times like that. I was going to talk about the difference in Kylie and Camden real quick before we got to some of the items. So these kids, my daughter is, she's 6 and she acts like she's about 13 years old. She's real smart. Her and I get along pretty well. Her and my wife fight all the time, like we were just talking about. My son is more of a kind of a roughhousing kind of guy, but it's weird to see now, like you hear when when a second kid is born and the first kid gets kind of jealous or has the little brother syndrome or something like that. It almost got worse now with my daughter. It started off just fine. She liked to play with her brother and everything was cool. And now it's so bad. It's like anything, if you say something to Camden, it's like, hey, Daddy, what? Say that to me. Why didn't you say that to me? Like, I asked him if he wanted more cereal. Yeah, how come you didn't say that to me? Okay. Like, everything is like that. Everything. Well, how come he gets to do that? How come he gets to stay up later? How come he gets... Holy crap. Like, I know that's going to continue throughout the entire time because I'm sure that I did it with my brothers in some way, or they did it with respect to me or something. But it's pretty weird to see that now, especially when if you separate them, there's none of that. It's just if they see the other one getting something or doing something that it becomes a severe issue. Can't think of anything else. Let's go on to the best part of the show. So there was the list that I told you about. My wife makes these lists. My wife is someone who will research stuff to almost an absurd extent. And I say that graciously in that I'm the recipient of all this hard research. But also, it's she gets stress herself out about it sometimes. So... And this is, by the way, is not just with baby stuff. I'm talking cars. I'm talking everything. Okay, so there's a list. There are several pages of a list that exist. And this list is basically the stuff that you need to own when you're having a baby. So if you're thinking about having children, if you're close, baby shower time. We have a friend that's actually having a baby shower this weekend. This is the stuff that... Not only did we find out was useful or has some really high rating on different websites, but is also stuff that we reuse for both kids and that has become like a staple of life. Some of these things are legit. Some major function of life cannot happen without this thing, and I'll explain that. And it's nothing like a toy or anything like that, or some elephant or something. Or Sophie the Giraffe or whatever. You know, that every kid has Sophie the Giraffe now. So, a disclaimer first of all. This stuff is from our experience only. It is based on research, and there's a lot of statistics behind it. By the way, my wife wrote these websites down. SafeMama.com and EWG.org are websites that rank this stuff based on sort of health of children in mind, not the really pro-organic stuff. So my wife writes here something about a skin deep rating system to check all the products, but basically you can either find it super duper useful and go really off the deep end of researching all this stuff and finding the best organic thing, and nothing can have any kind of environmental impact or anything like that in it. There's other ways to look at it. Obviously, when you buy the super crazy organic good for you products, it costs a little more. So cost really goes into play in a lot of times when you have a kid. It's not necessarily an out of nowhere expense, but it's another mouth to feed, so to speak. There's a whole other being in your house that you now have to pay for, whereas previously there were two. So all this stuff needs to be balanced with budgets and things like that. Don't just go out and buy all this stuff because Mosh says so. Although, if you do, use the Amazon link below the screen. I'm just kidding. Okay. So, all products avoid ingredients of concern, so anything that would affect the baby, have good manufacturing practices, and are transparent, meaning they kind of release all their studies and ingredients and everything like that. So, some of these things you'll find on the list. I will actually bring up the list here just so I can see it on the side, so I can scroll with you if you're interested in looking at it. And I mute myself before I hear myself. Okay, so basically it goes like this. There are lists. I'm going to skip around a little bit, but let me go through some things. So my wife has super sensitive skin. She can't put things on her skin or she breaks out in a rash. Partially because of that, but also just because of all the environmental concerns and good ingredients and all this, just good quality products, I guess. She's done research on all kinds of shampoo and lotions and sunscreen and freaking everything. So a lot of this list you will find on the list over here. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the California Baby is like this huge name, right? So California Baby, I'm pretty sure you can order on Amazon. I was told that a little bit ago. On these websites, most of the California Baby products, and I'm looking through her list here, I don't see any contradiction to that, are rated really, really low. And the lower the rating, the better in terms of what these websites suggest or say are the best products. But so for sunscreen, I guess sunscreen's different. The Badger stuff. So there's a Badger tin on here that's at Night Balm. There's also a sunscreen version of that. I might have that on here. Yeah. So there's one, if you scroll down the list of the baby stuff gear on Amazon list, there's a baby sunscreen cream on there that we use. This shit is thick. Let me tell you about putting sunscreen on a kid, or a baby rather. So when you put sunscreen on yourself, spray and go in the ocean. When you put sunscreen on maybe a teenager, spray with something and then go in the ocean. This stuff is like, trying to think of a good reference for someone that does not have children. It is like Crisco, or if you're a computer person, as you may be, thermal grease. So if you're to squirt this huge tube of thermal grease into your hands and then rub it on a child so that it was applied somewhat evenly over their body, you can imagine how hard that would be to do. This stuff is, especially the Badger stuff, is quite a bit thicker than you would imagine. It almost looks like, oh man, I can't think of a good like food reference to it. It's like a thick frosting. Yeah. It's probably like a real thick frosting. It's crazy, but it works really, really well. I would highly recommend it. We've used it for both of them their entire lives. Pretty sure if she's online, she can correct me, but they make the cream one that we use for their arms and legs and stuff, but on their face, they make this stick. It's actually a little bit easier to apply to faces because I kind of like move out of the way and everything. But if you just rub the stick on, my daughter actually has one that's like colored now, so that's pretty cool. But anyways, the best brands are the best according to all of the things I said before. So this is the manufacturing practices, the not having any concerning ingredients, transparent listing of ingredients, everything like that is Badger, Poofy Organics, and Babbo Botanicals. And by the way, this is from my wife, who has done all this research. It's not me just going on some fucking website and looking this shit up. She did that across many websites and many years. Stick is Babbo Botanicals. Okay, thank you. So the shampoo is also of concern. There is California Baby. I know for sure we've used for almost forever. There's a bunch of new ones. Babbo is another one. Dolphin Organics. Earth Mama Angel Baby. I remember that. So Earth Mama Angel Baby is something we had for a long time. That's another product. I believe you can buy this stuff at Target because we've had that a lot. You can also order it on Amazon, and you might be able to find it in the list below. But that stuff all is like 0 to 2 ready. Oh, I see Honest is on here as well. Okay, so Honest is the brand, is Jessica Alba's brand of baby stuff. It's all pretty good. I think it just came out right around the time that our son was born, and we signed up for this package where they will send you a package of diapers, wipes, and some other things. I believe you can request, like, check on boxes and stuff on a website to get them sent to you, but you can include soaps in there too, I think. But it's been a really good service, and the stuff is really A+, especially the wipes are my favorite wipes. And by the way, she lists the worst on here, and it's Baby Magic. What the? I don't know what one that is, but I'm sure that's like any of the generic stuff you find is going to be the worst when it comes to the ratings of these concerning ingredients or impact to baby websites. That's just kind of how it is. They are also going to be the cheapest. So again, budgets need to be taken into account here. Okay. And by the way, shampoos and conditioners, great. Honest, I really like the bottle. It's like a thin, tall bottle. It has a little white plunger or whatever on top. Earth Mama or California Baby also has it too, but it's like a thicker bottle. Washes and soaps. There's like a ton on here, but let me just kind of breeze through this because I want to get to some, like, I don't want to spend all our time talking about liquids. So this stuff is all kind of the same. Aveeno's added on here. Aveeno moisturizing wash. I believe you can find that below here. But California Baby and Earth Mama Angel Baby are also on here. They are the best. California Baby, Earth. Am I saying it right? Earth Mama Angel Baby. I've seen those all over my house for years. And they're more expensive, and it's a reason for that. They're the best. She did also write that the worst of washes and soaps are Johnson & Johnson formulas. And then she wrote why, and then wrote a list. So I'm going to read it to you. Endocrine disruptions, multiple additives, irritation for eyes, skin, and lungs, biochemical and cellular level changes, and organ system toxicity. That's what you get with Johnson & Johnson shit. Just a heads up. Don't buy that shit. Buy something awesome. Toothpastes are weird because you don't use them immediately when babies are born. But the best kinds are this Jack and Jill kind. They come in a couple different flavors. They're generally pretty good. They don't have a ton of taste. It doesn't like foam up in their mouth to freak them out. But anyways, the worst is like this Orajel one. But basically, it's like anything that looks like it's made for 15 cents or something like that is going to be bad. Just use your judgment when you're there. You could take our word for it. You could do your own research, but the Jack and Jill brand is fantastic. And that's for babies. We use Yeson for us adults in this house, which is also pretty organic stuff. But that might also have something bad in it. I'm not sure. We did try a different one after a while, some other organic toothpaste, and it was gross. We couldn't do it. I forget what that one was called. Was that Burt's Bees toothpaste? Something. We got one time where it's like, nah, I'll go back to the Yeson. Lotions, same shit. We talked about Badger earlier, but that lotion is the best. She also writes on here there's a new lotion that seems awesome called Attitude. So if you can find that one, it's the bomb. The worst is Baby Magic. Or Johnson & Johnson. Stop buying Johnson & Johnson shit. Buy the good stuff. Johnson & Johnson cheap. You can find it anywhere. Go to like the organic section and find some of this stuff and look it up on the website, safemama.com or ewg.org. Diaper cream, same thing. California Baby, Badger, Baby Balm. You'll notice a trend. California Baby is the jam. All their stuff is good. I kind of want to get to the stuff let me finish this stuff. Bubble bath. If you have a girl, the answer is none. If you want to know why, we could talk offline. But don't use bubble bath if you have a girl. If necessary, California Baby. If necessary. Worst, Johnson & Johnson. No, weird. That's so weird. So this one's interesting. If I know there's some people that are thinking about maybe having kids. Some people maybe that I know that are concerned of shit that happens to your body or whatever, and especially in terms of stretch marks or whatever. I will tell you, I'm going to just read what she wrote. California Baby Super Sensitive Organic Baby Oil. Everything is freaking California Baby on this list. I guess I didn't realize that until I'm reading it out loud. But it's like guaranteed. We'll take care of stretch marks. You will have none. Or at least that was the experience for my wife. But don't buy crap in that as well and expect results. Buy good stuff and you'll get good results. There's some kind of circumcision stuff on here. We'll skip that, but listen to the doctor is basically the best advice for that one. So here's the fun stuff. We're talking about, and not that stuff wasn't fun. The stuff I just read to you is probably the most crucial information you will hear when it comes to, and all that stuff that I was just talking about. This is stuff you buy every fucking week, every day, every week. You buy this stuff. Shampoo, soap. Laundry soap, by the way, Ecos laundry soap we've used forever. Ecos free and clear. You buy it every day. You refill it all the time. How much crap are you going to stick into your kid's skin, you know? So take a look at that stuff. Budgets are a concern, but you can find decent prices on this stuff on Amazon. By the way, any of the stuff that you cannot find on the list, if you have further questions, Discord, Twitter, DM, anything you want, send me a message. If I can't answer it, I know someone upstairs that can. So there are other products that you sort of need as a parent, right? Not just soap, or I guess food is a whole one we haven't really talked about. Huh. Well, food's its own thing. I mean, everybody's different with food. But, what was I saying? Oh, so that was her list, and it was the best list you're going to hear for some of that stuff. I have my own list, and it's kind of goes along with her other list. This is stuff that's like not, what do you call it? Doesn't run out. Stuff that you use all the time. Actual objects you can pick up and hold in your hand. Let me go to the right list so I can get this right. The list, my list. This is my list time. So this is stuff that you have to have, and it's because I say so. So it's if you're having a baby, you buy it, guaranteed. This is the Swanson guarantee. Look at that picture. That's my daughter. That is the cutest freaking picture. That was a poncho that she wore. God damn, she's so pretty. Products. You ready? Rock and Play. Number one. That's an argument about number one. Most important thing, Rock and Play. Some people have pack and plays they use, like those portable cribs, you know what I'm talking about? If you go to a parent's house or grandparents' house or something, you can't sleep over. The Rock and Play is pretty close to that. It folds in half. It's on my list. It might be the number one thing on the gear list. It is the number one thing on the gear list. Scroll down. Look at the gear list. Fisher-Price Rock and Play Sleeper. Holy God, this thing was the best. My daughter slept in it maybe until she was 3 months old. I don't even remember. She slept in it every single time. Amazing. They make one that, this is a funny story. When my son was born, I worked from home, so it was pretty convenient that I could sort of be with him all the time. So he slept with me in the office, and I'd play games or whatever, and wake him up and feed him and all that stuff. We had a swing, and there was a little bit of a choking thing, so it kind of, it freaks you out. You don't want to put him back in that thing. We had a Rock and Play in here. We had a Rock and Play upstairs in the bedroom for when we eventually moved him upstairs to the bedroom. Eventually we had two in that room, and we had them side by side, and one of them had this little remote thing on it that would make it rock automatically. He hated it. He did not like the automatic rocking thing. I don't know why. He wouldn't mind it if you stepped on it and rocked it a little bit. He would sleep completely sitting still. Usually he slept sometimes rocking, but he preferred it to not be doing that. But basically, if you get the automatic rocker kind, it's significantly more expensive. Just skip it. Kid falls asleep in 2 seconds. Put them into the Rock and Play, which is fantastic because they sleep like this a little bit. It's not this, they're not laid all the way down. They sleep like this. They can see you a little bit. They're comfy. They can't roll over and whatever. But it's a fantastic item. It's really easy also to strip out the thing that there's like a cloth netting, like a mesh netting that goes on top. That's like a sling that they sleep in, and if whatever they throw up or poop or something, you can just pull that out, throw in a wash, and then it's done 2 seconds later. Often, several times, we switched between the two Rock and Plays when that happened. But that thing is the best, really fantastic, and it's super easy to store. Fold it in half, put it in the car, go to your parents' house, unfold it, clicks right out, bam, you're ready. There's no breakdown to it. It's amazing. Really good item. We actually sold maybe both at our garage sale. Every year we have garage sales where we just sell all of our baby stuff. Man, that shit was gone immediately. My wife may have sold it before the garage sale started. Like, those things everyone wants them. They do make adult Rock and Plays. They're like hammocks a little bit. But yeah. So that's a pretty high up there one. I'm not necessarily going to say number one because some of the things that I'm going to talk about in a minute from my list are better, I think. But maybe that's a perspective thing. So there's other things. There's like this. So there's a microwave steam thing that you put in that you put bottles and pacifiers. And if you know anything about the bottles, by the way, this kind of goes hand in hand, but we use Dr. Brown's bottles only. They have this insert for this like gas. I don't really know the name of it. It's like a gas prevention tube in it. I'm not sure if all bottles are made like that. We've just used Dr. Brown's like the entire time. So we have those bottles. You pull them all apart. You stick them on this microwavable tray. You add a little bit of water. Throw it in the microwave. 3 minutes. Comes out sanitized. You have to wash them with a little bit of soap first, which the soaps are just refer to the soap list. But the microwave sanitizer is fantastic. There is no issue with heating up plastic since it's all BPA free. But it's good. It's one of those things where we bought it when Callie was first born. Some of the stuff that we bought, we sort of realized rather quickly, like, we don't really use this thing. And then this thing, we're like, we use this every minute of every day. So the stuff I'm reading to you is the every minute of every day list. Dr. Brown's bottles, make sure you monitor the nipple size. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's all different types. It controls the amount of food they can eat at one time, basically. Safety first, easy diaper pail. Let me show you something. I might switch over to the main screen so I can look at a couple pictures. Do I want to do that? Oh, I think you might be able to see it on the list. Yeah. So there's a safety first, easy saver diaper pail on there. Let me tell you about this diaper pail. There are a billion types of diaper pails, okay? Some of them are fancy. Some of them have a little handle that like opens. You put a diaper in, you close it. It drops down in the bag. Let me tell you why that's a nightmare. Sometimes they say, oh, well, it locks the scent in. No, it does not. Okay, it does not. Maybe for one diaper. When you have like 12 in there, no, nothing's doing that. So when you open it up, oftentimes when you're changing a diaper, let me just tell you about having a baby in diapers. Oftentimes when a tiny child, a tiny human, poops into a diaper, it may not be completely solid. It may not be in a perfect ball that you could easily fold up and throw in the garbage. It may be effing everywhere, and it may be more often than not like that. When that happens, and you go to put your diaper in the cool little handle one where you open up the slot and you put the diaper in and you close it. When you open it back up, it's just like poop all in there because it leaked out the sides or something. It's a nightmare to clean. It is a nightmare to store in there because sometimes the diaper will catch when you're closing it, so then you get like jamming around. If it gets too full, you can't open the thing. Forget it. Buy this one. Safety first saver diaper pail. Click, top opens, drop it in, click. You're done. It's amazing. It's way better. Plus with this one, you can use your own garbage bags too. So we just have really stupid, cheap, Target garbage bags that we just have like a 200 count or something in his bedroom. My son, who's still in diapers. Bottle warmer. First year's quick serve bottle warmer. Yeah. So this thing it's also on the list. Yes, it's on that list of baby stuff. So this is like, it's a heat up thing. It sort of heats the bottle up by steam, but basically you pour a little bit of water into, you see there's a little device that's on the side of it. You can fill it up with water. I've sometimes just, pour water from your hand into it. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to be too accurate. After you've had a one or two children, you kind of understand how much time until it's going to burn the kid's mouth. But it's super easy. It's just set it in, click, walk away. When it's done, it turns off. That's it. If you're worried about it getting too hot, don't put too much in. Just let it sit there because the steam will sort of heat it up after the cooking time is done. But it's super convenient because I'm not sure if you know this about babies, but when they're ready to be fed, standing there looking at a bottle, it's not what they want to do. So it's easy enough to just go do that, click, and then go play for 2 minutes and then come back and it's done. It's really nice. We still use it. I mean, we used it up until a few months ago. I should correct myself. There's a drying rack on there that was pretty nice. So the cool thing about this drying rack, it's the Munchkin one. It's on the list. Munchkin high capacity drying rack. So the cool thing about this one was it has all these fingers or whatever, these sticks that can fold up or down. So you can change the sort of mechanic of the drying rack, if that makes sense. So if you don't want to do if you don't have enough bottles, if you're just doing 3 bottles or something, you can fold down all the sticks and then just dump a bunch of crap on it. They came to a point where, you try and be organized, and then sometimes it's 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 in the morning. You're just like, just throw everything on it and let it dry until the morning, and then sort it out, which is probably more of my style. So sound machines are probably the most, I would say sound machines might be higher rated than the Pack and Play or than the Rock and Play. My children both still sleep with sound machines. My daughter still has one. She doesn't necessarily need it, but it's there. I don't believe I've included either of these sound machines on the list. Yes, I did. I included one. Munchkin Nursery Projector Sound System. So we have one for my daughter, which does, like, you can insert a little thing in it, and it shows a scene on the ceiling. It's like a jungle one. I think there's a sea one, and then maybe a night sky one or something like that. But the most important thing about these is it has a white noise setting. Okay, so some of the other sound settings can be confusing. There's some where it's like rain or birds or ocean sounds or something like that. There's some element to that being distracting in some way because they're sort of listening to the quirks of that. Like there's a jungle one where if you listen to it for a little bit, you can hear, like, every minute you can hear a bird chirping or something like that, or a monkey. And it's like, it can distract, when you're trying to get sleep right, which is a really important concept, by the way, sleep patterns. White noise we found to be the best because it's just a static sound. There's no variance in the volume levels, just the whole time. Both of the sound machines that we own, the one in my son's room, the one in my daughter's room, both have white noise, and it's perfection. This is one of the items where when we go stay at my dad's house, or when the kids go stay at their other set of grandparents' house, or we go to a hotel, or if we go on vacation or something, the sound machine is 100% in the bag. If it's not, we buy one, but when we get there because we forgot. That's it. They sleep with a sound machine. When we started that when they were young, because if you are trying to put a baby to sleep, the first inclination is to be super quiet, because that's how, it's being respectful, or that's how you want to be in the morning because you like it to be quiet when you sleep. Well, for babies, and I think everyone kind of knows this, but just to reiterate, when they're in the womb, it is pretty freaking loud. I've heard it compared to like a vacuum cleaner being run or something like that. It's loud. Loud noises are relatively soothing to them. Now, I'm not talking about banging pots and pans or an alarm going off or something like that, but just kind of a rumbling noise. This is why they sleep pretty good in cars too. It's like a static noise that they can hear of the car driving, or wind. So putting your baby in a room of silence is not a great idea for a couple reasons. One, that's not what they're used to. That's not where they've come from, Also, if it's silent, any small noise they hear could be a jarring noise. If you have a white noise on, that's sort of like you've raised the floor for noises, and in order to break that and to become a jarring noise, it has to be significantly louder. So you don't have to worry about walking around the house or talking or anything like that. My children, when we travel in a car, there'll be music playing, or my wife and I will be talking. We're never like silent because the baby's sleeping. That never happens. So baby could be napping. There could be people in the house being loud. It could have friends over, something like that, and the kids are sleeping no matter what. So that, I will say, my children have very, very good sleep habits. They actually, just in general about sleep habits, they go to bed at 7 p.m. every single night. 7 p.m. That doesn't necessarily mean they are asleep by 7 p.m. My son sometimes stays up, rolls around, loses his password, throws a fit, something. My daughter is, she's 21, so she gets upset about stuff and wants to throw a fit. But there's within half an hour, they're usually both asleep. Within that, because there's no TV, there's nothing in their room. They're just in their bed by themselves in the dark. Oh, that's another thing. We don't really do nightlights either. And we have blackout curtains. Should have wrote that down. Blackout curtains are pretty important. So there's no like scared of the dark or anything. It's never really been a thing for us. So, but they go to bed at 7 p.m. They wake up at 7 a.m. every day. There's my daughter has a clock in her room. She cannot leave her room till 7 p.m. or 7 a.m. She can wake up and do stuff in her room quietly, as long as she doesn't wake up her brother. And 7 a.m. she gets up, gets dressed. That's it, on about her day. My son's same way. It depends on the circumstance. It could be sick or something, but generally 7 a.m. is when he gets up. So, Brixie, hi. I haven't seen you in forever, man. What the hell's going on? How are you guys? Should I even guess what you were playing? If I see Avalon Rogu in here, should I even guess? Dead by Daylight, I knew it. Hi guys. Thank you so much for the raid, Brixie. I hope you're stream was well. It looks like you had good people with you. Hopefully you killed a lot of people, which is weird because I was just talking about my children's sleep habit. So to catch you up, this is Mosh's Life. It is with me, Dad Crates. And we're just talking about general parenting tips and items to buy when you're a parent or going to have a kid, or if you have a friend that has a baby shower. It's probably a good thing. But so anyways, the kids go to sleep 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. They wake up 7 a.m. I know I have my nephew, for instance, stays up, I think until like 10 or 11. I'm not sure. I have to ask my brother. But then he sleeps in until probably 8 or something. My kids are 12 hours of sleep every single night, every night. So the other good thing is that also gives you some little bit of relaxed time. Not necessarily that it's like, hey, kids, go to bed because dad wants to do his thing. It's like, parents need decompression time too, kind of. And you don't want to do that necessarily at midnight. So sleep patterns, I'm very happy to say that they're excellent about. There are things that my children are not excellent at, by the way. One of them is eating. That's my biggest fight with both of my children. Oh, no, I shouldn't say that. My daughter. Okay. So sound machine. Get a fucking sound machine. It is the best investment you can do when you have a kid. If you have a friend that is having a baby and they don't have a sound machine on their list, please go buy them a sound machine. I have one in that list just below here that I made before the stream. Let me see. Where are we at? Oh, so I mentioned the Honest brand earlier. Let me talk about that for a minute. I guess I did talk about it a little bit, but basically it's a subscription service. It's sort of like if you've ever had Blue Apron and they deliver food to your door and then you cook it or whatever. They deliver baby products to your door, and it's all organic, all pretty. I mean, you can go to the Honest, it's maybe Honest Baby or just honest.com or something like that. It's created by the actress Jessica Alba, and it's freaking amazing. They actually had a slight time, I think about a year ago, where they had to recall their wipes because there was like a problem with the packaging. The way the packaging was done or whatever vendor they were using was letting some kind of, it couldn't be moisture in because, anyways, doesn't matter. But basically, they had to stop producing wipes for a little bit. They came back and now everything's checked out. But basically, they're freaking amazing. Thank you for the host, Alvaro. As Mashkate's bot says. So, but the diapers, Amazon also has a diaper program. I'm pretty sure my friend Chris used it with both of his children. But you can order diapers on subscription like manner. You don't have to worry about running out when you run out because they ship a bunch at a time. I think Honest ships us like 5 or 6 packages a month. So that's never really been an issue. Maybe when he was really young and sick, at one point, we had to run out and get some in the middle of the month sometime. But usually those services are freaking excellent. And, this is kind of the day of, or the age of Amazon where you don't leave your house to go shopping. So it's even more on point. My wife made a bunch of lists about the diapers, but basically all you have to know is that they're dope. They're really, really good. Avi, hosting. Thank you. Okay, so that covers this list. That's like sheet number 2. Oh, car seats. Yes. So not only does my wife do research on every freaking organic brand that exists in this world, so it will always be the best information in terms of soaps or shampoos or anything you put on a baby's skin. Number 1 stuff. She also does crazy research on vehicles and car seats. Okay, so the car seats she has, Hawkshot. You guys, these hosts. Mike the Nose Frida is fantastic, but gross. Nose Frida. I don't know what Nose Frida is. I missed it. So car seats. We have 2 car seats right now. A couple of crazy car seats. One is this thing called a Diano. What the hell? Oh, the nose sucker thing. Did I miss a mic question? Oh, have a snot sucker thing. There you go. Okay, thank you for answering that. Sucking boogers through a straw. One of those like baby coffee stir straws. Yeah, so I think we had an electric one, didn't we? I thought we did. But yeah, we've had a few. None of them are very good. No babies like that shit. You just do it. I mean, we have the crappiest one we own is that blue one. I think the hospital gave it to us, and it's the best one we've used. I mean, kids hate it. No one wants to stick something up their nose and suck boogers out, but it works. So just hold them down and do it. That's what I do. So anyways, car seats. We have a car seat called a Diano Radian. My wife did the research on this. It was she made me say was because it has been beaten by a different one now. But it is like the top rated thing you've ever seen. Top safety, top everything. It gets delivered. This goddamn car seat is like 100 pounds. There's like a steel frame interior of it. It is huge. So you put it in the car, and and the baby's small. You got to turn around so they're facing backwards, and it is a monster to put in there. It cannot. There is no chance. Okay, hang on. Let me start over. It was the safest car seat that existed. Now it's like the second safest car seat that ever existed. But basically, this thing could like withstand a tank coming at it. But the problem is that when you're in a hurry to get inside, and maybe it's raining outside or snowing or something, depending on where you live, you want to get the kid out quickly. Car seat doesn't come out of the car unless you want to unstrap 100 pounds and carry it with you. So ever since Camden was a baby, he's been in this car seat that whenever we had to get him out of the car, you have to physically take him out, wrap him in something if it's too cold, take him out, carry him inside, and bring him out, and plug him back in. When Kylie was born, we had the Chico KeyFit 30. It's probably one of the most common ones. It's really, really high rated. The best part is it comes with a base that straps into the car. You take the car seat, you click it into the base. We have a stroller that is the same brand. It's like KeyFit 30 something. Goes through the stroller, Chico Cortina KeyFit 30. You bring the stroller out, you take the car seat out, you click it right in the damn thing. Oh, you have the Chico KeyFit, dude? Yeah, dude, that thing's amazing. The stroller, I gotta take a minute to talk about strollers. Let me finish the car seats. So, the Diano Radian is amazing. It is freaking super expensive, and it's super heavy. So it's not like you're going to feel it and be like, oh, it's some crap plastic. No, this thing is serious. Hit it with baseball bats. He wouldn't even feel it. The KeyFit 30 is really, really good. It's high rated, and it's super convenient. So you can click it into the base. You can click it out of the base, put it in the stroller. You could buy a separate base. I'm pretty sure we got two bases. I can't remember if we had two car seats or if we just bought another base to stick in like my parents' car or something. Oh, no, we had two cars. So we stuck it in it would have been the Cavalier at the time. But it was really, really convenient. Just click, take them out like that, set them inside a shopping cart or something like that, or the stroller. There's a new one that she wanted me to say. Graco Forever All-in-One is the best now, rated 9.8 rating. The KeyFit 30 is 9.9 rating. Okay. And then the Diana Radian that we have is 9.3 rating. The cool thing about the Radian one that we have, though, it's super huge, it's super steel, but it goes from 0 pounds to 100 pounds. So they can be in it for pretty much their whole life. You'll never need another car seat. That's why you pay a little more, but you pay for the quality and the safety of it. The thing is a monster. I swear to God, it's huge. I think we're going to take it out of the car, and the seat's just going to be dented in forever. I wanted to clip and title Mosh on consent, but I'm going to be good because you're talking about kids and it feels super inappropriate. I missed that, Abby, and thank you. Thank you for controlling yourself. Also, clip it because I want to see that. BestCarSeatHub.com is the website she listed here, so that's probably a good one to go check out. Crash ratings, comfort, and ease of use. Strollers. I am a tall person. Strollers can be a nightmare. My wife is a very short person, so there is a problem with stroller mismatch in our family. This has happened literally for probably 3 strollers we've had. One of them I backed over with a car. The kid was not in it, but it fell down off a shelf, and I just ran a tire over and broke it, and it was probably our favorite stroller. I don't remember what one it was, but it was freaking amazing. So we have one now that's like a super bare bones red stroller, and it's really just for like pop in while we're at the zoo because you don't want to bring a big thing. The stroller that I loved forever was the KeyFit 31, and I'll tell you why, because it has 4 independent wheels. That is so important when you're buying a stroller. It's unbelievable. I know that there's those ones, the jogging ones with a big front wheel that can go pretty fast and they ride pretty smooth. But when you want to turn them, you got to make this big freaking loop. It's ridiculous. There's other ones like the one we have now where I think the four wheels are independent, but the handle is immovable. You can't raise it or lower it or tilt it or anything like that. So I have to walk with it like this, like hunched over. And it's a nightmare for me. I cannot push that thing. So when we bring that one, my wife basically has to do it. The KeyFit 30 stroller had this like adjustable handle where you could click the sides and then raise it way up if I was driving it, or you could lower it way down if my wife was driving it. Plus it had the 4 independent wheels. Best stroller I've ever used. I've seen a lot. That stroller was freaking amazing. Not only could you click the car seat into it, but it was super easy to get around. The 4 wheels you could turn on a dime. Man, I miss that stroller. I guess now they just walk everywhere, so it doesn't matter. But anyways, that was a fantastic stroller, especially for the car seat we had. And that might be in my top 5 list, by the way. Top 5 items. And the only other thing that we've talked about so far on that list is the Rock and Play. There's 3 stuff coming up that are the best of the best. I mentioned the Ecos cleaners, but... Oh, I did mention like the Yason toothpaste we use. Schmidt's deodorant is like an all-natural deodorant. It's so crazy. Like 99% of the stuff in our house is organic stuff. Even now, usually with the food too. Best car seat. Safety.com, 73% aren't installed correctly. And she wanted me to say that she takes the car seats to the fire department to check out how we've installed it. If you put in your car seat, into your car and you're unsure, you can go to the fire department and they will literally come out and look at it. Every single fire department does it. They do it for free. It takes like 2 seconds. Those guys know exactly what the fuck they're doing, obviously. Okay. And they've seen enough to know what happens when it's not installed correctly. So if you're concerned or thinking about it, or, you just want to get a double check just to get a peace of mind, stop by the fire department, 2 seconds, have them check it out. You'll be done with it. Top 5 is on the Amazon list. So, what are we at? We're at my list. Yeah, let's finish my list. So, the last couple things. So, the top thing on that baby stuff list, the Rock and Play, is in the top 5. The stroller is in the top 5. I might say that maybe the sound machine is instead. If you scroll down to the bottom. By the way, most of the things I've been mentioning are on that baby stuff list. If you need a quick link or you want to go read more, look at the gear sort of list. It links to Amazon stuff. Just right click, go to it, whatever you want. If you want to just take a look, all that stuff is there. You can read more. Look down that list. Let me tell you about a diaper bag. Okay. Diaper bags are, if you don't know who I am, I'm not someone who cares too much if what people think that I look like, or if I'm out in public making a fool of myself or wearing some mismatched clothes or what. That stuff has never bothered me. It never will bother me. But I know that there's some concern where it's like, I've seen it before with friends that have had children, where it's, well, we need, a man's diaper bag. It got to be a man's one, because he can't use the women's one because the women might have pink on or something. That's so crazy to me. I can't even think about that. But either way, the diaper bag that we got, and I think we actually had 2 at one point. My wife then found this one, this Bag Nation diaper bag. It's the second to the last thing on the list. It is still in use today. It is the number 1 diaper bag you should get. This is probably, I'm going to say number 2. Number 2 baby item to own is this bag. We've used it forever. At this point, it's ripping at the seams now because it's been used so much. I still take it literally everywhere. We don't, my son, I don't have to change him so much anymore because he's a little bit older, but it comes with like pockets for everything. There's a wipes thing. Daddy. What's up, Batman? There's a wipes thing. There's a diapers section. There's a section for pacifiers, section for food. There's a bottles insulating thing. There's a huge thing in the back for extra clothes, extra diapers, blankets. We throw a kid's iPad in there. So when we go out to eat or something, they can look at the iPad. Buy it. Buy it. There's no question. If you're having a kid, you're looking for a diaper bag, this is the one. Forget all that garbage where you're going to get some kind of fancy one. I remember, and my cousin will know this. So my cousin Dave and I have been best friends for our whole lives. And he had a kid in January 6 years ago. And my daughter was born 6 months after. And that's only significant because my cousin and I are 6 months also apart. But I remember we were talking about diaper bags one time. And we were at a mall. Shoot, where the hell was that mall? We were at Fossil. And I think I was looking at the watches. And then he saw a bag. I'm pretty sure he's like, oh, that'd be a good diaper bag. And I remember what it looked like. It was some kind of like a leather thing a little bit. And it had like one flap on it. And it's so funny to think back to now because I'm like, holy shit. If you think about the functionality that would be for a diaper bag, that'd be a freaking nightmare. You know, I guess you look cool. It's like, nah, man. It's so funny to think about what you thought you were going to use back then, and then what it turns out to be is the functional solution to all that. But yeah, this diaper bag we've used for freaking forever. So if you're going to make a good purchase, this is definitely the one. Go for a functional diaper bag. Forget all that crap about looking good or whatever. No one cares about that. You're carrying a diaper bag, okay? Everyone knows there's poop inside. Okay? There's poop in there. You can't fool me. I know it's a diaper bag. But it looks pretty dope for being a diaper bag, too. Anyways, it's fantastic. Bag Nation. You can see the link on the page there. I said that was number 2. Well, gee, Mosh. What's number 1? You're the most knowledgeable dad in America. What is it? What's the number 1? I gotta know. Let me tell you about a boba. And I think this is a funny name because it's probably a fair word. Star Wars character. But also my stepmother, her kind of pet name from my stepbrother is Boba. And this brand is called Boba. So there's these sacks you can carry children in, and they attach to you, and guess what, you can use your arms still. I have it linked. It's the bottom one. If you go to that Amazon gear thing, scroll all the way down, Boba, it's on there. And I actually linked to the exact one that I use with my son. This thing, Jesus Christ, I used it when my son was very first born. Well, thank you so much for the host, Zach. How are you doing? How was your stream? I hope well. So I used it with my son when I'm in the house. I mentioned earlier that, how's it going, man? I mentioned earlier that when my son was born, he pretty much just hung out with me in my office, forever, all day, all night. Thank you so much for the follow. And, so, he hung out with me all the time. He slept in here, all this stuff. When he was awake, he just wanted to be in this sack all the time. All the time. And it's my wife and I were just talking because she makes this list of all the most important stuff for her. And I mentioned that I was going to put Boba on the list. She's like, oh, I wouldn't have put that because she didn't really use it. Man. Shh, it didn't happen. So, but this thing, I would use it at the house anytime we'd go literally anywhere, to any store, anything. The first thing I'm doing is upstairs. My wife's telling me where we're going. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Clip that thing, because if you look at the picture, you can see it's like it clips around your waist. Then you put your arms in, and then the baby just kind of sits here, with like facing towards you. You can eventually turn around. My son sort of prefer to be like this. That kid slept in that freaking boba sack for hours and hours and hours a week. It was amazing. It was also good because, you know, when you first have a kid, like, it's a little bit boring. I know it sounds crazy because you're sort of adjusting to having a kid. So there's another person in your house. They're screaming and they're off on sleep schedules and everything like that. But babies when they're first born, in the first 6 months or so ish, they kind of just sleep regularly throughout the day. I'm not saying all day long, but they'll take a 2-hour nap. They'll take a 2-hour nap, wake up for an hour, take a 3-hour nap, wake up for 2 hours, take another 2-hour nap, something like that, until they start figuring out how to sleep at night. But with this thing, it sort of like interrupts your day. You can't really do much. You can work a little bit, but it's like, you can't really there's nothing you could do for any long-term amount of time. So everyone, I talk to a lot of people about streaming stuff and how long I've been streaming. And I created my Twitch account 5 years ago, actually 5 years ago in October. And I started streaming like the first day I think I created it, or right around then, with this really old game that actually MAF127 and I used to play. And there are breaks in my stream schedule, and they're mostly for children, because it's impossible to have any type of schedule when you first have a child. For at least the first 6 months is roughly the amount of time, maybe 9 months. It's really tough to have any kind of set schedule. This includes streaming. This also included back then, not necessarily 5 years ago. Yeah, maybe around then. I raid WoW. So I used to raid WoW maybe 3-4 nights a week. And when you're talking about having a 6-hour stretch dedicated to only focusing on one thing when you first have a baby, it's not possible. It's impossible. So, WoW Raider. I heard first year is the roughest. Yeah, kind of. Are those $100 baby carrier things? These are the $108 baby carrier things, yeah. And worth every freaking penny, by the way. The particular one I'm talking about, I think they make knockoff brands, but this particular one, the boba one, is the best. So anytime we go anywhere, it's on my chest. Even if he wasn't going to be in it, even if he's, and my wife can attest to this, we would go any place, the zoo, grocery store, friend's house, anything. It became a part of my clothing. So like I'd wear a shirt, I'd put the boba thing on, and I put a coat on over top of it, just in case. Because as soon as it's time for him to sleep, it's yoink and he's asleep. That's it. He wouldn't necessarily sleep laying down. He wouldn't sleep in a stroller. He'd only sleep in this thing. So, but it also became kind of a cool bonding thing for me and him, which is really nice. But also because when I was saying you get kind of bored, or you're just standing there kind of like, oh, is the baby going to wake up now? I'm not sure what I can do. Console games are pretty important around that time. You need something to do to distract yourself for 2-3 hours at a time. So this is around the time when I bought the PlayStation 4 and I bought an Xbox, and the Switch wasn't out then. But so I bought these systems and got some single player games so I could pause and start them. And this is why I tell everyone that The Last of Us is one of my favorite games ever, because I played the entire game all the way through when my son was born, when he was maybe like 1 or 2 months old. So it became kind of a cool link between he and I, that I was playing through this game, and he would often just sit there and watch me play it. A lot of times he'd be in the boba and I would just be walking back and forth in the dark in my office playing this game just as long as I could. You know, he's just asleep. Okay, I'll just do one of these. It's so easy. A lot of times you see dads or moms too, but I know specifically if I see a dad out in public or something, I see him just kind of like doing the sway back and forth. Like you can kind of tell how new a dad is by how much they're swaying, if that makes sense. Because sometimes you have to stand there and do one of these until the kid falls asleep. And it could be a long time. So I do that all the time when I'm out in public. I'll just be sitting there like this. And I notice it when other people do it as well. They sell them where I work and people steal them a lot. Oh yeah, you do work at the place that would sell these things. Yeah. Musties, are you afraid that people will call social services on you for forcing your kids to watch the Bills? Well, no, not necessarily, because my daughter would be like, I'm a Steelers fan or some crap, and then I would get mad. Or I like the Patriots, because that's how she is now. But not my son. He's going to like the Bills. What WoW raiding have I done? I've done every single raid. Every raid since Serpentshire Cabin. So I've done all of them from back then. I'm sorry. I missed the first Panda raid. Whatever that tiny raid was in the very beginning of Pandas, I missed that time. I believe that's right when my son was born. Is a Big Baby your favorite player yet? No, but she does recognize Big Baby whenever he's on screen. So the boba, I mean, I cannot suggest it enough. Like I said, it became just a part of my clothing. Like I wake up, put shorts on in summertime, whatever, pants, shirt, boba. Right over top, and just walk around with it. I walk around the house with it, no problem, because it was just, if the kid was ever having a tiny bit of an upset moment, it was almost an instantaneous asleep phase, just like bloop, asleep, no problem. I started back in vanilla 2 weeks after the game was released, been playing on and off since then. You would probably have loved MC and BDO, so legit. I heard those were amazing. I mean, I went back and played the nerf versions of them, but they were super fun when I went back through. It's way different when you just run through in like 2 minutes though. So the boba is super important. So my list turned out to be, I guess, boba. Oh, no. There's one more. I don't believe it's on the list because I'm going to switch. Hang on a sec. Let me find it. I thought I had it queued up. I don't think I do. I think I took it down someplace. Yeah, let me find it for you. This is the thing that we have used for freaking both our children forever. I'm just looking for a generic one real quick so I can show you the idea. I don't necessarily endorse the brand. Yep. This may be the number one most important item to buy when you have a kid. Maybe. This type of item. This is not necessarily the brand to get. That's not what I'm saying. I don't even remember what our brand was. We got gifted one when my daughter was first born. Okay. My uncle gave us this thing. It was a high chair that you clip onto a table. Oh, God. Like joking. Okay. If you've never seen these things, it's unbelievable. So you basically loosen the bottom. You put them on the end of like a restaurant table. We used it for our son on the big table we have in the kitchen. We take it everywhere. It is always in the car since both my children were born. It just clicks on the end of any table. It's easy as hell to take out to eat, especially when you take out to eat. You know, a lot of times the high chairs aren't cleaned off very well. They got food all over them, germs, whatever. So you can easily just pop your thing on there, clip, you just screw up the things on the bottom and then set them in it and it's fine. I'm telling you, we use this thousands of times for both of our children. Thousands. There's no problem with going. Yeah, that's what it looks like. He just kind of clips on the table and just sits there. The other awesome thing that you never think about with this, anything the kid can get their feet on, they're going to push off of. That's just what's going to happen. So when they're in this thing, they're just sort of dangling in air, and there's nothing they can do. They're just sort of rendered helpless, and the only thing they can do is eat, which is really all you want them to focus on, especially when you're out to eat at a restaurant or something. But this item, I swear to God, it's really, it's like a lot of times with first parents, when you first have a kid, you feel trapped in your house. And it's tough to go anywhere because it depends on your personality. Sometimes you can be the type of person that, I don't want my kid to cry when we're in public. I just, it's too much of a hassle to go out to eat. It's too much of a hassle to do this and that. This is, it's one of these items that really allows you to have like a flexibility to kind of do something, quote unquote, in a normal type of life situation. I'm sorry, give me 2.5 seconds here. Oh, okay. Oh, I think my wife found it. The one that we, give me 2 seconds. Okay. Yeah, let me see if I can get this one, because it's actually the one we had. She did find it. Travel set. Is that what it is? Hook on travel. Yeah. No. Travel seat. Whoops. No, I cannot find it. I'm not sure why she's getting different results. Am I typing in something wrong? Chico? One sec. Oh, yeah. Huh. I wonder why that the labeling made a difference there. Hook on chair red. Okay, well it's something like this basically, but it had penguins for hands or whatever. But they were freaking amazing. Trapped or glad I get a permanent excuse not to go out and be social. That's true. Yeah. So this thing was great for that. And it's actually the same reason that I really like the boba, because not only do you have some like freedom of movement in terms of leaving, you have freedom of movement in terms of not having to hold the kid. You know how many hours and days and years you spend just holding a kid or trying to control them, especially when you're, paying for something and they're trying to flip out of your hands or grab something. Stick them in the boba, put them in this chair to eat. Good. And I will say trapped in those scenarios, because sometimes the kids just need to be trapped for a second in order so you can take care of some regular human function like paying for groceries or eating. But this thing could be number one. Really, really close second is the boba. And so these are definitely the top 3 items. If you're having a baby, you have these 3 items. They will let you do a lot of stuff. And I'm not necessarily saying these exact brands. I did have really good success with the boba. We did really like the Chico hook-on thing. But this is interchangeable. I know my cousin Dave has a different one, I believe, than this. Or maybe it is this one. I just looked in because it was red. But this one was A+, this boba thing. And the Bag Nation diaper bag. I mean, there's no replacing that. It's so freaking good. Hi, Craig. How are you? Okay, so those are the top 3. Get those if you're having a kid. If you have a friend that is having a baby shower, get those. Let me see. Oh, here's a funny picture of Captain sleeping that my wife sent me. Look, I can't tell how old he is in this picture. It's only on my phone. I guess I can't really send it, but you can see it a little bit. See? He's in a boba. This is actually not the one I love. This is the one that my wife bought. So we had 2 because the first one was so good. But this one was the secondary one. This gray one that I have on the screen is the best one. Just hanging out. Exactly. Passed out every minute he was in that thing. It was amazing. Hey, did you hardwire your house with Cat 5? No. I did not. Should I have done that? No, I didn't. The house was mostly pre-built when we bought it. I'll stick to using condoms for now. That's another good solution. Okay, so there's only one more topic that I want to talk about. Let me go back to the newsroom real quick. So we went through the list. If you guys have any questions, obviously hit me up. I might be able to post this list in a top 5 list on the Twitter. So if you follow me on Twitter, I'll post it there. You guys can get the links there. Top 5 most important items for sure. It'll be these 3, probably Sound Machine, probably Rock and Play as well. Probably those 4, 5. Okay. So the last topic was a little bit of an advice section. And this is more about just some general tips when having a kid. Not necessarily tips, but misnomers or... where am I? That's gray. Let's go topic. Bam. Important notes. Okay, cool. So the advice. So some things I want to talk about. We already talked about sleep patterns a little bit. Sleep patterns are super important. I did go. I won't cover too much of this because I already talked about it. But when your kid is a baby, it's important to instill a decent sleep habit. My daughter has not napped since she's freaking 6 months old. That's pretty well known with all of our friends and family. She should get a nap, but she just never. She wasn't a kid that would lay down for 2 seconds or stop thinking for 2 seconds. Or stop talking for 2 seconds. So she's never taken a nap. My son, on the other hand, nap every day 2-3 hours. It's amazing. Oh my God. I was so freaking jealous when my cousin and my brother, because we all had kids around the same time, would talk about how their kids taking some X number of hours naps. And I'm just like, my daughter literally hasn't napped in 2 years. There's no break. It's just constant. Someone's talking to you. So sleep patterns are good. Especially nap time, if you can get that going. I would highly suggest Sound Machine white noise. Highly. I would highly suggest blackout curtains. The problem, I will say, with blackout curtains is that once a kid gets used to sleeping in the total darkness, it's just like the white noise thing. Once a kid gets used to sleeping in the silence, if they hear a noise, they wake up. Once a kid gets used to sleeping in kind of a loud, with a white noise happening, hearing other noises doesn't bother him too much. If a kid gets used to sleeping in complete, utter, pitch black darkness, sleeping without it can be a little confusing. That is probably something that we weren't 100% on. They both sleep fine now. I mean, there's no problem sleeping. But when we go to like my parents' house, they have the opposite of blackout curtains. They have like sun reflecting curtains or something like that. There was a problem sleeping at both their houses. They would hardly ever sleep there. Got it. I'll limit it to here. Thank you, sir. I see. Oh God, look at my head. Look at it. It looks so huge. So sleep patterns are great. As I said, my kids sleep 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Get yourself a nighttime clock. Once your kid gets a little older and understands the idea of staying in their room or leaving their room as either like a punishment or something they do at nighttime, we got this clock called, it's like Night Glow or something like that. I forget. It doesn't matter. They make clocks all the time like this now. But basically, you set it so that they go to bed at a certain time, and it lights up kind of like a nightlight scene. And then at some X time during the day, it turns to a sun, or it turns to a different color. My cousins, or my nephew, has one that is a turtle that turns green at like 7 o'clock. So he knows he can get up then. Get that going. It'll put them in a good schedule. That's a good tip. I wouldn't necessarily suggest anything that turns on sound or anything, but just like a quiet light. Ready to wake. Okay, that's probably what Rylan uses. Have you taught Kylie to play Tekken yet? We could use some more players for game nights. No, but she really wants to play Octopath Traveler, and I think that's a little too advanced for her, but she does love Overwatch. So Ready to Wake is probably, if Laura's saying, it's probably a really good brand of clock. We ended up buying one that my wife found online that ended up being this clock from like, I forget where, someplace in Europe. So we had to get a voltage converter. It was really kind of a hassle, but it's been like the best since we bought it. Yeah, any of these lights. I just looked up Ready to Wake on Amazon. You guys can go there and find that, but it gives you different clocks that'll change colors or different scenes at different times. So check that out. So that's number one, sleep patterns. Number two, discipline, which is always weird. So I will mention a few things on this, and everyone has really kind of highly charged opinions on that. Oh, here's some more cute pictures my wife is sending me. So check this out. This is my son in the rock and play. Like sitting up, wondering where everybody is. He's probably just staring in the bathroom right there. But that's the rock and play. And then she sent me this one. You could see more of the boba in action. Because I was, that tall thing there is a telescope that I bought my daughter for Christmas. So anyways, discipline is something that everyone's kind of divided on, whether or not you do, like spanking is a common one, timeout, boundary setting. There's other things I've seen. A friend of mine, Phil, who has children, has some cool discipline stuff he does with his kids that we've talked about previously. BB. Yeah, it's a new, it's a sort of a bit of a trial sponsorship. But you go check that out too. What doesn't work? Discipline? Why do a lot of parents let their kids play videos all the time? So that's a really good question, and I love that that topic. So discipline is easy if the mom's a kung fu master. Who would act out of line with that? That's true. Mike, yeah, that's accurate. So Mike, the person who said that, his wife is like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu master. So yeah, I wouldn't mess with her as a fucking adult. So I'm not messing with her as a baby child. Now, prevents hanger is no way I don't buy it. I'm telling you, it does. I just notice it more and more. They just let them game so they won't bother them. Oh, okay. That's a little different than what I thought you were talking about, Zach. But I got you. So discipline for us has been strange. So I will say for sure, and any other parents can chime in, but discipline is really, really different per kid. Like not everything works on all of your children. My daughter is way more like cerebral than my son will be when it comes to discipline. My daughter, for instance, her nightmare is taking a nap. I said she never takes a nap. So threatening her with a nap is immediately effective 99% of the time. I will preface with the fact that my kids are generally really, really well-behaved children. We never really have a huge problem. The main problem becomes when they're overtired, and that could be from many different things. That could be from being out in the sun, playing all day, obviously not taking a nap, or any number of different reasons. Didn't get a good night of sleep, all this stuff. I've heard horror stories from both you and Dave with the kids sneaking out for iPads. Would you go back to do no iPads so young, or is it just a few and far between thing? For us, it's been a few and far between thing. I will tell you the one nightmare situation in just a second. But staying on the discipline topic for a second, you got to find what discipline pattern fits each kid. My son in particular, he's not old enough to really discipline him yet. He's not 2 yet. I would bet doing something like taking away an iPad will end his life. So that will be the most effective one. If you threaten my son with taking a nap, he would probably be like, okay. My daughter, she can't stand if she has to sleep. She's pretty okay. She was never take toys away type of person. We tried that before. Oh, we'll just take all the stuff out of your room. She's like, okay, I'll just play with my clothes. She'll just play with shoelaces. She's very, very creative and imaginative, so it's impossible to take things away from her. So her thing is more like isolation. She doesn't like sitting still. She doesn't like sleeping. She hates. So that has worked for us so far. Anything with sleep involved is effective. I'm not sure how it's going to be with my son. With my brother's kid, it's a way different scenario where he still takes a nap. He gets a little crazy sometimes, and they have to they do the timeout thing, but it's like an extended sort of cool down period because he can ramp up so fast. So it's pretty interesting when you talk to different parents about their effective methods. There is no one right answer to that. You just really have to feel it out, and it depends on the personality of your kid. But I will say that a lot of times, if you're kind of paying attention, and I'm not saying like you're writing essays about, the behavior of your children. You have a PhD in child psychology or anything like that. I mean, just knowing who your kid is as a person, knowing the stuff that they do and the stuff that they like, you can pretty easily fit in a discipline action to that. Just knowing the stuff that they enjoy, the stuff that they respond to, the stuff that they really don't enjoy. Not to say that you have to like torture them with shit they don't enjoy, but it's effective to figure out something that they don't want to do. For instance, eating. That's like my punishment is eating with these kids. Except my son, who eats really well, which is actually another thing. So eating has been like a really big. Actually, let me go into the iPad thing real quick because that was brought up. How my stepdad used to send us to our rooms, no TV, no radio, no toys. We wouldn't care and would read. He wasn't allowed to take away books. My dad would beat the shit out of us. No, I'm just kidding. No, my dad, when we were younger, he used the belt. And then when we got older, it was take away video games. And it was the worst thing in the world. And by the way, I'm not necessarily someone who's against spanking. Spanking, I mean, I was spanked. I'm not saying that because I was spanked, spanking is an okay thing. And it's okay for you to hate spanking and to be disappointed when people spank their children. But, I mean, you also don't know that situation. You know what I mean? You don't know that relationship. You don't know that. I'm not talking about really beating up a kid or anything like that, but spanking, like a spank when a kid's misbehaving or something like that. It's not child services time. There's a difference, and you sort of know it when you're a parent. I don't know how else to describe it, but I don't pass any kind of weird judgment if someone spanks their kids and someone that doesn't. Everyone has their own method. It's not something that we choose, but it could be really effective for other parents, and that is fine. Yeah, so my dad took away video games after a while. That was I hated that. Let me see. Is this more similar question? I know they read some horse with you. Okay, yeah, so the iPads. I really hate that I've been hearing from kids lately, you can't spank me, I'll call child services. I've heard it from a lot of my cousins. I'm like, dude, she spanks you. And you do call them. Yeah. Yeah, if anyone called it for that, they would be laughed at pretty much. My friend Chris and his family, their family's all firefighters, and they they're really in tune with the CSP people or the CPS people, just because of their work line of business, and they have been called on many things like that where they just get there like, hey. And we know it's ridiculous, because the parents terrified and everything like that. But yeah, there's a lot of CPS will protect me from that stuff. I mean, sometimes they're really necessary, so I don't want to laugh at any, necessary a situation where someone might be getting seriously abused, because then obviously it's CPS time and authorities time. But if you're talking about someone misbehaved or did something terrible and got spanked and sent to bed, I mean, Jesus Christ, you're a kid, So let me transition the iPad talk. So both of my children have iPads. My daughter has had an iPad for quite a while. My son has a Amazon Fire, and is it called the Fire? Or is that the stick? No, the Fire Stick is the Chromecast thing. I think the Fire is the tablet. So he has an Amazon Fire that, good thing is no CPS are in place. They have no access to phones. Hi, Lace. Oh, I like that. And the little octopus and the guy fighting it. So they've had iPads forever. I think that, and this is me being critical of myself and my own parenting skills, because that's good for everyone to review your own parenting skills and adjust as you move forward. You can't just have one solution that lasts forever, because kids change, dynamics change in a family. You need to be able to adjust and adapt to any different situation. So what worked for my daughter may not work for my son. My daughter is very smart, and I must be going to take care of Mosh. Thanks for stopping by, Zach. I'll talk to you later. So my daughter's had an iPad pretty much forever. She prefers to sort of play imaginary games to the iPad. That's really not a big deal. There are times when we take it away. We don't do it during dinner time or usually during eat time. Breakfast can kind of be different because sometimes, you're trying to prepare for the day and everything like that. But usually we'll take it away for dinner time. When we're out to eat, it's a little different. Any parent, I remember reading something, it might have been Laura that reposted it or something, it was just on Facebook, where it was like something about how you see other parents letting their kids use the iPad when they're at a restaurant or something, and the person was making fun. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, that's like, you never understand that till you have a kid. When you're going out to eat and your kid's throwing a crazy, crazy fit, and if you give them the iPad, they actually eat and focus on eating for like 10 minutes. I mean, that's always the solution. I mean, obviously, in the perfect world, manners and the best behavior in the world from every child would solve that instead of an iPad. But it's fantasy land. Look at your phone. Okay. So what am I looking at? Did you send me something? Send me a text? Email? I have nothing. So the iPad that she's had, that my daughter has a couple of different things on it that are learning type games. There's actually a lot of cool learning games that you can get when they're young. She does one for school now. She actually does all of her reading through her iPad for her school, actually. So there's a program called Raz Kids, I think, and it's like she can read through different programs and advance her level of reading comprehension through it. So that's become a part of her learning pattern at school. When she gets home, there's usually, she's not really that attached to the iPad, that attached. She'd rather play sort of with someone else or just playing with her own imagination most of the time. Oh, all right, sent me this. Person without kids. A recent study conducted at a prestigious university proved that prolonged screen time can have negative impacts that prevent learning in children, which is notable. And a person with kids. Cool. A recent study conducted in my living room proved that that allowing my children as much screen time as I see fit prevented me from losing my shit, which is also notable. It's kind of a funny anecdote on that, but it's also, I mean, that's fucking a part of it. You could do everything. You could take all the best steps and take all the best advice and only allow your kids to do this and that. Never have any sugar their whole life. Never do this their whole life. But, you know, the parent sanity is important as well. So if an iPad gets you a relaxing 15 minutes to fucking relax, you know, think, or to do some sort of chore, or to eat food, or go to a restaurant, or to just be quiet for a little bit. I mean, Jesus Christ, calm down, okay? With everyone freaking out about friggin' screen time and iPads. So yeah, we don't really have a problem with it in the house. Kylie definitely is required to do this reading program called Raz Kids pretty often, even during the summer. She does do a lot of, she's actually starting to do like YouTube videos now, or Twitch videos, which is kind of interesting, where she'll record herself making a show about the toys she has. So that's kind of funny and creative and interesting. My son, he's the one where it's like, if you could go back, would you change something? You know, maybe we should probably take the iPad away a little bit more. He's really attached to it. Sometimes. But mostly he just likes kind of hanging out with his mom, laying in bed with her, and they, you know, kind of watch pictures or movies on a phone or something. Like Pokio is the big thing. But anyways, that's iPads. Another thing I wanted to mention before the show, it's almost 11 o'clock already. Holy shit. So I wanted to mention a 529 plan. This sort of goes to not necessarily baby stuff, but 529 plans are a college advantage program, and it's a way for you to invest money so the kids can go to college later on. Let me explain it real fast. It's a little bit different than a regular banking service in that well, it's like an investment plan, like any other investment plans. You get investment managers and portfolio managers who put together a plan for you to invest in your the 529 savings, and it will grow your money some X amount before they get to college. There are stipulations. You get penalized if you take out money before it is used for college. You get penalized a big amount if you use it for anything that is not related to education. That being said, the broadness of what they call an education-related expense is pretty nice. It could be a car to get to school. It could be a computer at school. These are things I've read on the websites. It could be books. It could be housing while you're at school. Any of these things can be covered with the 529 money. So it's pretty broad. It's not like it can only be used for tuition or anything like that. There was a change in the program that some of you may know since Trump, where it is now allowed to be used for private school, which is not necessarily bad. There's some kind of argument that maybe it shouldn't be used for religious schools. But, okay, I'm not a religious person, so I would tend to agree with that, but that's okay. I mean, who's it hurting? Besides maybe banks and investments and investors that try and do long-term investing. Anyways, so I would highly suggest opening a 529 plan. And here's a couple of reasons why. Check your state, first of all. Not all states offer a deduction on it, but many states do. I think it's maybe like 30 states or something, or 36 states that will give you a state deduction up to some X amount that you deposit in a 529 plan in the name of not only your children. You can deposit in the name of other children. You can deposit in the name of nephews or nieces or anything like that. My dad opened one for both of my children when they were born. He's in New York, so you can do it state to state. I live in Ohio, so we have one in Ohio. The state deduction for us, according to the booklet that I conveniently got that arrived today, College Advantage Direct 529 Savings Plan, up to $4,000 deductible from the 529 plan. So it's pretty nice in terms of tax deduction as well as long-term savings for college. It may be that once, if you have young children, that once they're ready to go to college, there'll be no more fee for college. That'd be the perfect world, right? Yeah, up to $4,000 in annual contributions per beneficiary may be deducted from the Ohio AGI with an unlimited carry forward that exceed $4,000. Yeah. So basically, you could put in $10,000 and carry that money forward forever if you didn't want to put in any money next year or something like that. But it's really, really advantageous, both from a tax perspective and for investing early in a college fund. If the college rates keep growing like they are now, this will be pretty required. But any money you can put in is good for the future. So I would definitely take a look at your state 529 plan. Now, we use College Advantage. It's just the name of one of the plans, I believe. Ohio's 529 plan. That might be an Ohio-only plan called College Advantage, but I would go take a look. But they give you a whole asset list for periods of time and everything, and you get different investment portfolios. They basically get you to gauge when's the first time you'll take money out, and then it'll give you a plan based on that, whether it's a little more aggressive or a little more passive, depending on how close you are. Same thing as like an IRA plan. You get a little more aggressive when you're younger, and then as you get older, you kind of get you ease off the throttle a little bit, basically. But that's another super recommended suggestion from your buddy Dad of America. So if you if you're looking at that, let me just get the website real quick, because I can't stress that enough that it's super important. It's only good for Ohio, so I'm not going to post a link because half the people watching this don't live in Ohio. But it's there, 529. That's the number. Put it into Google. It'll tell you what's up. That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. We have covered so much shit. I think I'm going to list out the top 5 items to buy from my perspective on my Twitter later on tonight or tomorrow morning. I will also clip this show and put it on YouTube if anyone wants to see it later. But it's there's some cool topics of discussion. There's tons of good information, especially from my wife with all her ridiculous research. So thanks to her for that. But if you have any questions, feel free throughout the night, or you can hit me up on Discord or the Twitter or anything like that, and I can answer it in that fashion. Can't think of anything else. I think that's all I wanted to discuss. Do I have any more pictures? I think that was it. 6? Yep. Okay. I think it is. Hi, Insurance Geek here. Get your kids' life insurance that can be carried in their adulthood. It's super cheap. Nice. Good call, Laura. Also, call Laura. Okay. Let me take a break. I'm going to get a snack, another drink, and then we're going to play some games. Not sure what. Maybe Dead Cells. We'll see. Thanks for hanging. I'll be back in a minute.